Hey there, you're listening to The Advertiser's Guide to the Galaxy with me, Karthik Srinivan. I am back with more insights on marketing and advertising from India. In today's episode, I will be talking about Hindustan Unilever's new campaign for Vim Black. Hindustan Unilever recently stirred the kitchen sink with a dishwash product meant only for men. It was a campaign by the agency Mill & Love Lintas. The product was called Vim Black, which the pack helpfully mentioned is for men. HUL confessed eventually that this was a limited edition product, which is euphemism for we concocted it only for the campaign. What is the point of a fake product like this? Arguably, to generate a conversation. So what does HUL's Vim want to convey through this men-only dishwash product? The campaign mocks men for bragging about even their very, very occasional effort of doing the dishes and mounting it as some kind of achievement. The sarcasm is blisteringly sharp and incisive. But there is a much larger context to Vim's effort. Vim signed up Virender Sehwag to do the dishes in their ads back in 2020. This was the first time Vim had shown a man doing the dishes. Then, in December 2021, Vim had a couple arranged by the families meeting for the first time and discussed the split in the household work. The guy says that he would be glad to help in the cooking too and ends it with no big deal. The girl asks him, then I will help you in doing the dishes, no big deal. The jibe, delivered very smoothly and in good humor by the girl, lands perfectly and the guy gets the point. The latest Vim Black campaign seems to be an abrasive extension of the December 2021 campaign. Why is it abrasive? Because the jibe in the earlier campaign is an intimate conversation between two people. The jibe and sarcasm in the new campaign is a broader announcement to all men. But why shouldn't it be abrasive? Isn't it a massively persistent problem that men look down upon household tasks and worse, look at them as meant for women only? If Vim's intention with Black was to stir a conversation, what would be the intended goal of such a conversation? I would assume that would be to change social attitudes towards sharing the household work and not treat it as a domain of women alone. This would be a very long-term goal, however, and it would be unfair to expect this long-term goal to materialize out of one or more of Vim's campaigns alone. A more immediate goal from Vim's perspective would be to get more men into the discussion table about sharing household tasks. P&G's Ariel did that with its Share the Load campaign. The tone of Share the Load is very, very different, however. It aims to communicate with impact by simply letting us see the ugly truth and by showing the actual change that happens at the end of their ads. Vim's 2020 Sehwag campaign too was on similar lines. Show a popular man doing the dishes. The 2021 December campaign from Vim had a similar idea. Put forward the view as a conversation between two people trying to understand each other before their wedding. This is the same tactic used by Lloyd washing machine in 2015. In it, a couple is at a white goods store to buy a washing machine and the husband tells the salesperson that washing machine is his wife's department, so she would do the talking. The wife asks the salesperson to show them a unisex washing machine that both can use, much to the husband's embarrassment. In both Vim's December 2021 ad and the 2015 Lloyd washing machine ad, observe who is delivering the sarcasm. In Vim, it is a girl. In the Lloyd washing machine ad, it is a wife. Who is it directed at? The guy who is presumably going to marry the girl, and in the Lloyd washing machine ad, the husband. Meaning, the sarcasm is delivered by someone close to the men. In the Vim Black campaign, how does things look? It is a brand that uses sarcasm as a way to publicly mock men broadly in one sweeping brush. This lands very differently from the same sarcasm applied through people close to the men in the earlier ads I have cited. You may argue that Indian men are totally hopeless anyway, and brutally mocking them is the only way left to make them see the ugly truth of their outdated thinking. That, however true it may be, is not very productive if you consider basic human psychology. If you need someone to listen to you, there are two ways: make them feel welcome or order them to listen to you. Vim creates a third option: mock them. That may not at all be purposeful if the aim was to work towards change, some change, however small. For men who already share the work at home, Vim Black isn't going to do anything. This is clearly directed at men with a bloated ego, a superiority complex, and staggering laziness. Now, if they were broad-minded, they would be already sharing work at home. But if they are not at all that open-minded, would they welcome a public shaming session like this? They obviously may not, because the joke is on them. So if the conversation is not purposeful, could Vim argue that the campaign was intended to generate buzz? After all, any buzz, any publicity is good for the brand, right? Hardly. Generating buzz has been truly democratized thanks to social media. Anything and everything generates more than enough buzz these days, at least for a day or two, if not a week. Remember the layer short Dio ad that generated a lot of buzz in June 2022? For all the wrong reasons, of course. So if talk is cheap and anything and everything generates talk effortlessly these days, brands would need to think hard and come up with communication that directs the buzz in specific ways that aid the brand's intended narrative. The Vim Black campaign directs talk in two ways. It gives women something to mock men with, which is perfectly justified and totally understandable. It directs people to a non-existing product, which is rather pointless for Vim. What does the first do? It merely accentuates the problem and continues to alienate the one party that needs to join the conversation, men. And worse, it sells the same product to women, assuming women look at Vim positively for taking their side. The second, all that attention to something that doesn't exist in reality. The most ironic thing, though, is about Vim itself. As soon as Vim roped in Sehwag for the 2020 campaign, it went on a massive PR overdrive, tom-tomming across media about how Vim was aiming to normalize men in the kitchen. HUL spokesperson was quoted as saying, and I quote, "Being an industry leader, we are committed to contributing to positive cultural change, as well as making better connections with people through our advertising." In other words, HUL was bragging about doing something very noble for the society. For complete context, Henkel's Pril, a rival of Vim, showed a man in their ads much before Vim, way back in 2018, where they had model and actor Gurmeet Chaudhary doing the dishes without any noise or pomp. So here's what is happening. Vim is mocking men for bragging when they do a bit of a dishwash, and Vim goes to town bragging just after they showed Virender Sehwag in the kitchen doing the dishes in just one campaign. The connecting thought, so little effort, so much bragging. I wonder if Vim should be subject to the same mockery that it drops on men in the Vim Black campaign. That's all for today. We'll be back next week with another piece of marketing communication and another round of insights. If you want to reach out to me, I am at Beast of Troll across Instagram and Twitter, and Karthik Srinivan on LinkedIn. I also happen to have a blog by the same name. If you like the show, reach out to them at IVM Podcasts across Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Thank you for listening.